which is being used in example 6.19 is being utilized. The only difference is we have to use the command bar h, x comma y comma g. And as you all know, G is the style and G indicates green color. Okay, and G indicates green color. And rest all you all know. This is the label name of X, X-axis, Y-axis, and the title. So now what we are going to check out is we are going to see two things. Okay, one is whether the bar graph is coming horizontally. Number one. Number two is whether green color is being filled in those bar graph. So these are the two commands which we are going to check out. Okay, I'll move the slide. Yeah. Okay. So I think everything is proved. Number one is, see, we want the y-axis to be horizontal, right? Bar graph. So you can make out the y-axis, the bar graphs are horizontal, and also it's like you can see it is filled with green color. Okay. Maybe you can ask, sir, it is green or something, but when we copy paste, it comes like this. Okay. So this is the horizontal bar graph using the bar h command, right? I think till this we are focused with yesterday. Yesterday I was just running through this. So we have just went off yesterday's. We'll just start with still some more commands are there. Okay. I just want to show you all the commands, students. It's not like there are so many commands, but I just want you to know. See, there are this many commands in plot in MATLAB, so that when some question is being put up on a new thing, you shouldn't feel like this is not being touched. Okay, so that's why I just want to touch with all kinds of plotting functions with two-dimensional. Okay, so we'll go into the next is, you can see the name. It is there in the name, but before this, we'll just see with a small video. Okay, so this video which you're going to see now is a kind of interesting stuff. A small, very small video. It is called as Capacitivo. Okay, the name of the thing is Capacitivo, and the meaning is a context-sensitive technique that can be used to make smart tablecloths. See, right now the entire world is smart, isn't it? Everywhere we go, the word smart sticks with the product. Smartwatch, smart TVs. Okay, so everywhere the smart wristband, so many things have come up. Okay, so what I thought is, okay, we'll implement some smart tablecloths. What smart things can be done with tablecloths? Okay, so that is what the video is going to be. So it's like, yeah, I'll go into the video, but I've told it's a smart tablecloth, isn't it? First, we'll have a small talk. What kind of smart tablecloth it can be? Any guesses? I'm just leaving it open to you. So you can pick up your mic and talk. What kind of a smart tablecloth can be? Yeah, okay. Abhin is asking fabric wise. Okay. Yeah, maybe fabric wise. Yeah. Any guesses? Any ideas? Because all fresh brains, fresh legs. Anything coming to your mind? I have just said it's a smart tablecloth, isn't it? So what kind of a smart tablecloth? Stain proof. Archit, stain proofs are there, Archit, isn't it? No dust. Okay, Sandeep. You can attend. Okay, okay, Hari, tell me, Hari.
Less sweating types.
Less
Sweating. Cooling type. Less sweating.
Less sweating, huh?
Newspaper in it.
Okay, roll itself. Okay, fine. Still, I'm not sure whether you'll able to touch that. Okay, still open. Still, you can go for your guess. I'm not matching up with the exact answer what I require. Cooking suggestions, Archit. Okay. No, it's not.
Can I have a display to watch TV?
Oh, you can put the plate on the tablecloth and you can watch TV, yeah? Roshan?
So maybe it can take orders.
It can take orders. No. See, think about smart people. Let me just once again. See, the key is smart. Okay. Think about how the technology can be mapped with smart. You're all thinking in the kind of food stuff. Like it can go for the menu. Yeah, see, even Archit is selling food preservation. Don't keep on thinking about food.
Sir,
I just want to get
it scans the place where it is kept and then clean it.
See, you're thinking about food only, students. I don't want to concentrate. You forget the word food. Other than food, what kind of a smart tablecloth it can be?
Hello, sir.
If it tears, it will recover itself.
Okay, sir. Okay, think about cloth. Anything about you forget tablecloth.
Maybe it can fold itself into.
Maintains temperature.
Maintain temperature, cloth, okay. Still some cases.
Sir, like when we keep our phone and like wireless devices that can charge, so it can
Oh,
charge our devices.
oh, so much of hi-fi stuff, isn't it? Oh, you're telling about wireless.
Sir,
When I
sir, it may be like a smart board, sir, where we can sketch or draw something.
Oh, okay, fine, Abhay, fine, okay. Still any other things, or we'll go into the video
Maybe it can change its pattern or something.
pattern or something. Okay, yeah, I have seen lots of cases. Okay, I'll just give a clue. Imagine you have a smart tablecloth. Okay, you think it this way. You have a smart tablecloth or a cloth. I'm just what we literally do in our eating tables, like dining table, we try to place some fruits or something. Okay, imagine I'm placing a fruit. What that tablecloth can do?
Sir, it can arrange the food in its order automatically.
Okay, fine. No.
Be according to the ambient mood.
What happened? What it will do?
Change the color and pattern according to the surrounding moods and
Oh, surrounding mode. Okay.
Like to
And,
maybe
prevent
check
it from
if
getting
it's
dirty.
like fresh or new.
oh, okay. Fine. Okay, I'll give you one more clue. Imagine if I'm attaching a smart display. That is, I'm keeping one fruit in this table cloth, and I am attaching a laptop or a smart. I'm attaching a display to that. So thinking about that, what can happen? Any guess? Okay, I'm placing a fruit. Imagine you have a tablecloth. I'm placing an apple, and I'm just connecting that smart tablecloth with a monitor. So what that can do?
So does
Yeah.
it have
Sir, it
does
can
it have
analyze
Bluetooth?
the water
Yeah, is it a Bluetooth speaker?
nutrients, etc.
Okay. So many things. It can display the food, right? I don't want you all
Is
to
it a
jump into
Bluetooth
that.
speaker?
No. You check it out now. Okay, you check it out now. Now I'll go for the video.
is it
Yeah.
that something that we can take it like there's also a one with the motion of the hand detects and
Sir,
the movements.
Okay, a lot of
it
jumping
can tell
conclusion.
the nutritional value.
Okay, fine. Yeah, you have all gone with so many inventive things. So I'll show you. You can invent these things in the future. Like imagine if you have a smart tablecloth or something. You can invent this in the future. Now we'll go into the video. Just watch the video. What dish supper for dinner? Okay, Archit is not going to come out of lunch or dinner, I hope. Okay, so see, a contact sensitive technique. See, I just said a word, contact sensitive technique. I just said that word. Did anyone catch that word before playing on this video? Talking about this, I just told this word.
So changing the color of tablecloths, sir, by just sensing our mood.
Okay, fine.
So maybe
Just
just like sensing the weight of it and adjusting it to it.
Excellent. We'll see that.
Or telling what fruit or what type of food is kept on the tablecloth.
Whatever. Okay. Thank you, students. Kruti, Hari, thank you so much. We'll just watch the video. We have gone with Hari. Hari, are you there?
Yes, sir.
And I think you were absent for yesterday's class, Hari, isn't it?
I was present all the classes.
Yesterday you were present, Hari. You were there yesterday, Hari?
Harihara Sudan was actually, I guess.
Oh, Harihara Sudan. I confuse his name with yours, Hari. Sorry. Okay. So now we'll go with the video. Okay, just watch this.
In this video, we present Capacitivo, a capacitive sensing technique for contact-based object recognition on interactive fabrics. Nowadays, fabric is a big part of many things in our lives, such as clothing, furniture. In this project, we explore how to make fabric aware of its context of use, especially for what object it is in contact with. For For more information on Capacitivo, please see our paper.
Okay, so got any ideas? It's a very small video. So I understood what it is?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes, Bhavya. Yes, Bhavya. Bhavya was the first to tell. Could you tell me, Bhavya, what it is?
Sir, it's basically sensing the weight and temperature of that thing that is kept on it.
It shows the shape also, isn't it? Maybe shape or what object it is, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes, thank you, Bhavya. See, we have seen, you can mute Bhavya, thank you. See, we have got a lot of jumping conclusions from so many of you, isn't it? Some of you are telling it can cook, it can fold, but see, this is one kind of thing which is totally different, isn't it? Somewhat different, but this is also interesting also. See, it is all in research kind of thing only, okay? So hopefully these kind of things will come back in the future. In the near future, it comes into for our use. Anything want to be added, students? Okay. Okay. So we'll.
So how can it be useful to us?
Yeah, check it out, man. You have to tell me, Utkarsh. I have shown the video. Does anything come to your mind? How it can be useful to us? If you
No,
see,
sir. That's why I was asking.
no. You understood the working part of the video actually.
Yes, sir. So it can tell the temperature and the shape and size and what is kept on it.
Okay, in that way, we can just check out the, say, instead of lifting a object and feeling it is hot or cold, you place it on the smart tablecloth and analyze with your system, man. Everything is technology, isn't it, Utkarsh?
Yes.
Sir, so
Yeah.
it can tell that it's ripen or not.
No, Sandeep, you should give me those answers for me. See, I have shown you the video. Rest all questions you have to put among yourself and find out certain things from Google, and you have to tell me back, Sandeep. That will be the best part. See, I have been telling so many things, isn't it? So I expect something from your side also. So if you have a question, just find out whether the tablecloth can do that. Is that okay, Sandeep?
Okay, sir.
Yeah, so that I want you people also to learn some new things. So that is why I'm leaving the things to you. Figure out, and so that that can be shared. Okay. Yes. Okay, so we'll just go back into the subject presentation. Okay, today we'll finish off plotting, just simple diagrams only, because already we have seen in nutshell about what is plotting. So now we'll just see what are the commands which can be implemented newly in plotting. Okay, Ujan is telling it can tell whether the fruit is fresh or not. Yes, that's really true. It can analyze, as Sandeep was asking, isn't it? It's like whether it has ripened or something. Yeah, everything might be there, but it's better if you students just serve those things, and if you're going to share it in the group, it will be pretty interesting. Instead of me going on with one-way communication. That's why. Okay, so we'll go into today's presentation, students. Today's presentation is, we are going to start back with a function called as HIST, okay? So if you're just going to see the name, it is there in the name itself. HIST stands for histogram. We have seen a bar graph and we have seen polars, so many types of graph, and still this MATLAB is not limited to certain things. It still branches out, and it can develop a histogram function also for the given data. Okay, so that is called as HIST function. HIST is for denoting histogram. Okay, so the function HIST draws histogram of the given data, and the syntax is HISTX. Just you have to remember these names, like you have to remember the function names, so that this function name just automatically comes as a command in MATLAB. But some differences in Scilab, you have to find the equivalent, like some things need to be introduced in first of HIST, something kind of a stuff. Okay, some things you might feel it is not working, but what you have to find out is you have to find the equivalent of Scilab. Okay, so this is about HIST function. Now we'll see a small coding. Okay, and the question is illustrate the HIST function. Okay, and we are just going to illustrate a histogram function. What we need to generate is, see, they have just taken a common question of X. Okay, they themselves have figured a question. What it has to generate is generate 100 random data points. Okay, it has to generate 100 random data points, and that has to be implemented in the form of a histogram. So this is the histogram command, isn't it? HISTX. So draw the histogram with 10 bits. Okay, 10 bits in the sense some value, that break value actually, and the title is to be a histogram. Okay, so now we will watch how the histogram output is going to get developed. Okay, yeah. Okay, so this is how the histogram will be. You all know, isn't it? You would have plotted histograms. So this will be the output of histogram. Okay, so the x-axis is the histogram plot for 100. I mean, this is the figure for 100 random variables in 10 bins. Okay, so this is one example of histogram. Okay, we'll finish off with the commands today. Okay, the next is something called as a rows function. Okay, the thing is, first I just want to have a small thing with you all. It's like, have you heard of a rows function, students? In mathematics, have you heard of rows? ROSC?
No, sir.
Syed is
No, sir.
Syed? Okay, I just want to have a Syed.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Syed, Eid Mubarak, Syed. What you're doing today in functions day, you're attending class, Ari? How it is?
Sir, it's to be honest, it's not actually Eid. It's basically something different. So we don't have to
Okay.
just like prayer.
Oh, okay. It's a kind of function, or how do you celebrate this, Arif? Actually, how do you? It's called Miladun Nabi, isn't it? Actually.
Yes, sir. Sir, sir, it's just like some groups celebrate it and some don't. It's just basically kind of depends on the thing.
Okay. It's not for everyone, isn't it?
No, sir, it's not Eid. That was stuff like 2-3 months ago. It's a bit different.
Oh, fine. Thanks, Arif. I thought you were there in the. I could see your name, so that's why I thought of asking you. Okay, fine, thank you. Yes. Now, I think the silence says you haven't heard about rows function, isn't it? So now I'll go back into the presentation and I'll just tell you what is this rows function. Okay. Okay. I'll just show you the output, students. Just see the output and go for the guess. What could be this? I'll show you the output of the rows function. This is the output of a rows function. Okay, can you just go for the guess? What could be this? What it look like? This is the output of a rows function.
So looks like polar.
Very good, excellent. It's a sinusoid plotted in polar coordinates. I think you can see the difference. Previously, we have seen polar coordinates, isn't it? But what is a rows function is? It is a sinusoid. Okay. This is a sinusoid plotted in polar coordinates, and that function is called as a rows. Okay, so that is the thing. Rows function draws the single histogram, and this is the command. You have to use the rows. Okay, and again, this is a simple question. They want to develop the 100 random points. Previously, we have seen for histogram, isn't it? But only thing is, we have to use the rows command. Okay, so this is one thing about rows, right? We'll go to the next thing. Next is pi function. Okay, you all know what's a pi function, isn't it? It's a pie chart. The output will be in the form of a pie chart. So the function pi draws a pie plot of the given data. The syntax is pi x comma k, pi x comma k comma labels. Okay, this is the implementation of a pi function. And just look at this question. So what they mean to ask is, illustrate the use of pi function to show the concentration of different industries in the region. Okay, see, you have the name of the industry, you have the number of industrial units. So what you need to develop is, you need to develop a pie chart. They call it pi function, but the output will be in the form of a pie chart, isn't it? So you have to rig up this chart in the form of a pi function, right? And this is the command, which you all know, and we are just going to see how a pi is going to come out. Okay, because see, you have just in the industry part, we have just fed these values 4, 8, 20, 2, 7, 10, whatever is given here. Okay, and the syntax is pi of industry. It's pi of x, isn't it? So it is pi of industry. Now we'll see the output, how the pie chart is coming. Okay, so this will be the output of your pie chart, right? And you can all see the values. We have been in the table, it is, I think it is given 4, 14, 20, 8 and 16% and finally 39%, isn't it? So your output of pie chart will be like this. Okay, so this will be the output of your pie chart. Okay, the next one is stairs. Stairs is, it's called as steps, isn't it? You would have maybe you would have studied about a step graph which goes step by step. Okay, but we don't have step in MATLAB. It is called as a stairs function. Okay, and this there is a command for stairs, right? And this is the command. You have to use the syntax name as stairs, okay, and the style, right? This is the command for stairs, and you can see the question. They just want to plot a stair for the value y is equal to x into x, where you are given the range also. So what you have to do is for the x, you have to plot the range. Okay, the range is -2 to 2. They have given in the question itself. Okay, and y is this, and the stairs is we have already seen the command, and it is with the grid on. Okay, they just want the stairs to see with the grid on. Now we'll see how the output for stairs is coming up. Okay, just watch this. I hope it looks like a stairs. Step starts here, ends, starts, ends, starts, ends. It goes like this with the range. I think the range is being specified. So this is the output of a stairs plot of the function of y. Okay, so this is how your stairs graph or your stairs plot will look like. Okay, the next is, one more new function called as stem function. Okay, so again, I'm not sure whether you would have heard about this name. Yes or no, students? Stem function, have you heard in maths? Stem. Okay.
No, sir.
Yeah, good. So the silence and the late answers tell it is new for you. Okay. Right. So what I'll do is I'll go for the output. You see the output of the stem function, and then you can come up for the answer to me. Okay. I'm moving to the output of the stem function command. Okay. This is the output of stem. So can you tell me what could be the answer of stem? You compare plot with stem. You can compare the plot output with the stem output. Okay, this is the stem output. So I'm giving you a clue. When compared with the plot and stem, what is this output actually? What could be the difference between plot and stem?
So the points are not included. Yes, that's it.
Very good. Okay, any other things? Whether you can see about the waveform, I'll give you a clue about the waveform. In plot, I think it is a continuous, isn't it? Your waveform will be continuous. Whereas here, can you find the difference?
So discontinuous.
You have a word for that. It is called as discrete values. I hope you're able to see, isn't it? The values are discrete. Whereas in the plot, it will be always a continuous value. Whereas in the stem, it is a discrete value. Okay, that is a big difference between a plot and a stem. And the syntax is this. Just you have to use the keyword of stem. Okay, and they have given the question. Draw the stem plot for the following data. X is equal to, this is the range value, y is equal to this. So what you have to do is you have to automatically use the stem command. So once when you use the stem command, and you'll get this output of stem. Okay, so this will be your output of stem. Okay, and the last command with respect to two-dimensional data is compass function, and you have a clue of what is this function in the first line itself. In the first line itself, you have the function. Can anyone just tell me what could be this compass function? Okay, I'll move to the graph. Yeah, I move to the graph. Can anyone just guess what could be this?
Polar function?
No, not exactly. Looking at the curve, you're telling me it's a polar.
Shape of a compass.
Looks like a compass.
Looks like a compass. Okay. No. Okay. See, what is a complex data made up of? Complex values made up of. It has two parts, isn't it? What are those two parts?
Real and imaginary.
Exactly, students. Exactly. Okay. So that is called as a compass function. It uses the real part and imaginary part. Okay. So when it uses the real part and imaginary parts of the complex variable, that is why it is called as a complex function. That's why I asked you, like the clue is there in line number 1. I hope you're able to the clue. The clue is complex data. Okay, I thought you'll check out this and tell me it is real part and imaginary part. Okay, no issues. So this is called as a compass function. Okay, and this is the question. I think if I see shown the question, you would have told the answer. It is real part and imaginary part, isn't it? So I don't want to show this. Okay, so this is the question. And you have to implement the compass function. Just include the compass, and so that you'll be getting this desired output. Okay, so till this will be your two-dimensional plot. Next, the last topic of plotting is we are going to say three-dimensional. But before that, we'll just go for a small video. Okay. Okay, this will be mostly the last video. We have seen almost 2 videos, isn't it? Okay, before going into this video, we just have a small talk. Okay, I'll just type the word of the video. You people just figure out and tell me what could be this. Okay, I'll type it in the chat box. Just hold on. Yeah. You can check out the word in the chat box. Okay, I want instant answers. No surfing in Google or something. I want instant answers. Okay, the silence says it is new for you, isn't it? I have given the word, I have given everything. Aviral is speaking. No. Okay, Kingsman gadget. No, Glenn, it's not kind of gadget. Okay, now you can surf and tell me. You got time for surfing, isn't it? We'll see who gives the answer. Wi-Fi balloon. Okay, Animesh, something kind of a stuff. Okay. But I want the exact clarity about balloon balloon from you all. I want the exact clarity. You're all sitting in your systems, isn't it?
So it's basically for internet access at rural and remote areas.
Excellent. That's all.
Yes,
See, yes, that's what I said. You have the answers in Google because it's a product of Google. Okay. So as Animesh said, we don't have access to cellular network everywhere, isn't it? So it's like Google's parent company is there, isn't it? Alphabet. Alphabet, what they have done is they have developed this project long back. Arit, do you want to tell something, Arit?
No, sir. No, sir. You can continue.
Okay, fine. Yeah. So it's like, yes, Hujan is telling all copy paste. Okay. So it's like now we'll go into the video. So now you have understood what is Loon Balloon, isn't it? So now we'll watch the video for people who are new to Loon Balloon. Okay. Okay, so I think now my screen will be visible about Loon Balloon. Loon Balloon breaks record for stratoscopic flight duration, stays afloat for 312 days. It's a huge record. It's like they made this Loon Balloon to fly afloat for 312 days. Again, we see the video, and this is interesting, isn't it? Google's parent Alphabet, okay, has announced that Loon team. Google is the boss of this Loon. It's like they have the parent company, Alphabet, isn't it? So Alphabet literally worked on this, and this Loon project was started back in 2013 with the ambitious goal of providing cell phone services to people who live in remote areas. As Animesh was telling, isn't it? See, this was the main priority. They wanted to give cell phone service to people who live in remote areas. So for that, they have floated this Loon Balloon. Now we'll go into the video. Okay. Yes, it was a kind of interesting idea, isn't it? Say, this was popped up by Google, right? And right now, see, what is the thing it has reached? Very interesting kind of a stuff. Okay, so shall we go into the last part of the presentation, or anyone wants to tell something about this? Okay, fine. So we'll go into the last part of our presentation of today's plotting. We'll just finish off with that. Okay, so our last part of presentation, and you can call it the last of plotting, it is three-dimensional plots. Okay, till now what we have seen is, we have seen different plot commands, isn't it? That was all for two-dimensional. But right now, the current thing is, we want everything to be watched in 3Ds, isn't it? 3Ds, and initially it's like I got really fascinated when long back I just watched Avatar in 3D. Okay, so much of fascination for watching that movie in 3D, and nowadays it has ended up even Avengers Endgame. So many kind of movies came up with 3Ds, which was pretty interesting. So the same thing, even MATLAB, which like you can get up outputs with respect to 3D. Okay, and we are going to see what are those three-dimensional plots. Okay, there are certain things similar to two-dimensional. The same things can be implemented in three-dimensional also. We will see just what are those three-dimensional plots. The first is plot. Okay, plot 3. See, already plot is the command. We know that, but it has to work for 3D, isn't it? So for that, what necessary changes you have to make is just include a 3. Okay, the command is plot 3. Plot 3 x, y, t style options. Okay, the difference, plot 3 function is an extension of plot function used in 2D data display. Okay, so only thing is use plot 3, and they are given a question. They are given a range for x is equal to this, y is equal to this, and for the t, range of -4 to +4. What you have to do is you have to obtain a 3D plot showing the metric. Okay, this is the question. You can see the solution. This is the t range. This is for x. This is for y, and this is for the plot of 3. I hope we're able to see this 3. This 3 indicates 3D. Okay, right? We'll see the output how it is. We just want a 3D plot. Okay. I hope you're able to see this image, right? It's a 3D plot. You're able to get the difference of the previous plot. Previous plot, whatever we would have seen is it's of 2D, and this illustration is of 3D. Okay, a 3D line plot. You can make out the difference, isn't it? A three-dimensional view. Okay, so this is about plot 3 function. We'll go to the next function. The next function is bar. Again, the bar graph we have seen already, but with respect to two-dimensional. So what we have to see is, we have to see with respect to three-dimensional. Okay, so the command is, it is bar 3. So just include a 3 in the bar. Okay, they are given a question. Draw a 3D bar of the following data. X is equal to this, y is equal to this. Okay, so when they are given the range, just you have to go for the command. It is bar 3, right? And we are going to see the output, how it is a three-dimensional representation of a bar graph. Okay, so this is a three-dimensional representation of a bar graph. I hope we're able to get the difference between the 2D bar and 3D bar. This is how your 3D bar is going to look. Okay, the next is bar 3H. What is the difference between bar 3 and bar H? Bar 3H, the only thing is this H, and this H indicates the horizontal plot. Okay, if you want your bar to be in horizontal of 3D, what you have to do is you have to use this command. The function bar 3H is similar to bar 3 function, except that it plots horizontal plot. Okay, so that is one big difference. And they have given a question. Draw a 3D horizontal bar. In the question itself, they have mentioned, isn't it? You should draw a 3D horizontal bar to show the growth of a certain state. They have given the year. They have given the growth in percentage. So what you have to do is just implement this. And in the command, you have to include bar 3H. And in this, what you are including is your year growth thing. Okay. So this is with respect to the bar 3H. We'll see the outputs, right? Yeah, so it is coming horizontal. I hope we're able to get the difference, isn't it? Your previous 3D we have seen, okay, and this is the difference. Everything comes out horizontal, and this is a 3D horizontal bar graph. The plot which shows 3D horizontal bar graph. The next is pi. We have seen pi in two-dimensional, but we can represent pi also in three-dimensional. The syntax is again, it is pi 3. Okay, so pi 3. With respect to x, comma, k, and labels, we'll see the question. Yeah. So what need to be developed is illustrate the use of pi 3 function to show different profession people in a group as per the following data. Okay, you have to develop a pie chart using Pi3 function with this kind: manager 12, engineer 15, professor, doctor, architect, and designer. This all should be reflecting in your pie chart. Okay. So what we'll do is we will just see how the pie chart looks. Okay. So this is how the pie chart with the breaks. Okay. So this is how your three-dimensional pie chart will look like with doctor, professor, engineer, manager, architect, and designer. Whatever is being given in the question, this has been implemented in the Pi3 function. Okay. And the next is STEM. We have already discussed what is a STEM, but what we haven't touched is the three-dimensional view of a STEM. Okay. And this command is for the three-dimensional view of the STEM again. It is STEM3. Okay. And they are given a question. They want a cos x function with the exponential power. You need to develop a STEM3 function, right? So again, this is the command for the x, y, and you have to use the STEM3 function. And finally, we'll see how the output looks like. See, this is the three-dimensional output of a STEM. And previously, we have seen what is a STEM, isn't it? So it displays discrete values. Okay, STEM is a function which displays discrete values. So this is a STEM3 function which tells about a discrete value. I hope you're able to see. It is not that much thing. In a three-dimensional, it looks like this. This is how you plot a STEM3 function. Okay. So I think this will be the last slide of plotting. Yes. Okay. So with this, almost your first unit gets over. Okay. Almost all topics are covered. One common question I get is, sir, when is the schedule for cycle test 1 will be given? Okay, my answer is, till now, according to the academic planner, we know it's starting on 5th. Okay, it's starting on November 5th. But till now, we haven't received any schedule from the department. Okay, so once when we receive the schedule, they'll give the day order. Okay, first they'll give the day order on which day order it's going to start. The day order, it may start with 1, 2, I mean, it starts with A, B, we can't tell which day order. So once when they give the schedule only, we'll know on which subject is going to be first. Okay, but one thing I want you to be is be prepared. Ujan is asking, the test will be of how much marks? Actually, Ujan, how we conduct for third years and final years is, when they have the CD1, it was just first unit. Okay. CD2 was, right now they had its second and third unit. CD3 was fourth and fifth unit, okay? But I was not sure about CD1 because it was before my joining day in SRM. But right now, I conducted CD2, it was for 50 marks. So how many CDs in one day? You can't write 2 subjects in one day. I mean, it will be just 1 subject in one day because they follow day order, isn't it? So imagine we MATLAB fall under E day order, right? Day, the thing is E, isn't it? So it's like when on which particular day you have 2 periods, that particular day will be your CD1 exam. I hope you're able to understand. Yesterday morning 1 and 2 periods we had, isn't it? So most probably it will be like that. Which all days you have 2 periods, most probably in that particular day the corresponding subject will be fixed. Okay, don't worry. Once the schedule is being given, you'll understand how it works. Okay, so this is about the thing I thought of telling you. We'll just what are the types of questions will be asked. That's what Ujan. It's not been figured, Ujan. It's like we haven't been told to prepare the question paper or whatever. See, there are 2 types of patterns. What we used to do for third years and final years, what we have done is, it is called MCQ pattern. One is multiple choice question. Okay, maybe 50 marks of MCQ. It can have choose the best answer, fill in the blanks kind of stuff. Or what to say, it can be 2 marks also, like 40 questions of MCQs. There is 40 marks of MCQs and 2 marks questions 5. That is 2 into 5, 20. Like you need to write or upload. Maybe we are not sure about the pattern. Okay, because for first years the pattern is not finalized of your CT1. Okay, so right now no worries. Once everything is finalized, we'll just discuss about what to be done. Okay. Yes. So now we'll go into the attendance. Welcome. Okay, please answer your attendance. Sai Swaru?
Present, sir.
Okay. Roshan?
Present, sir.
Okay. Yeah, welcome. Chandra Kiran Teja?
Present, sir.
Ah, yeah, fine. Okay. Okay. Priyansh Srivatsava.
Present, sir.
Okay. Abhay Dikshit.
Present, sir.
Okay. Janvi.
Present, sir.
Okay. Brijesh.
Present, sir.
Okay. Animesh Gupta.
Present, sir.
Okay. Gautam.
Present, sir.
Okay. Hujan. Okay. Hujan is there. He has given the message. Hujan. Okay. Chaitanya.
Present, sir. Present.
Okay. Yeah. Kushi. Kushi.
Present, sir.
Okay, Kushi. Fine. Arif. Yeah, Arif is there. Okay. Akshay Anthony.
Present, sir.
Okay, Akshay. Kritika. Yeah, Kritika is there. She can answer a question. Okay. Okay, Kritika. Vishnu Sai.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Archit is there. He was asking so many questions about cooking. Yes, Archit is there. Lakshmi Manishankar.
Yes, sir. Present, sir.
Okay. Atulya Deep.
Present, sir.
Okay, Atulya. Okay. Ribu.
Present, sir.
Okay. Glenn. Yeah, Glenn is there. Arnab Banerjee.
Present, sir.
Okay. Charanjit Singh.
Present, sir.
Okay. Krishna Pradeep.
Yes, sir. Present.
Oh, yeah. Ayush not here. Ayush.